All right, 5:30, haven't arrived. Call the meeting to order. Stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So if anybody would like, there's cheese and crackers. Who donates that every year? Who sends us it every year?
Sanssouci.
Mr. Sanssouci.
Thank you, Mr. Santos.
Good, George. All right, review of outstanding minutes, the 14th of December.
I would move as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have one correction on the December 14th minutes. The price for family for the January 9th is actually $10 per family, not 20. That might be what we said, but it's not right. So it's actually $10, $5 a person and $10 per family.
They can only eat half as much, though.
Right. Anything else? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain because I wasn't here.
All right, I have two accounts payable manifests. One in the amount of $535,715.47, of which $500,000 is for the school.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I have another accounts payable manifest in the amount of $57,222.85.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a petition and poll license for Haynes Road. Number 3620 is the poll number, and this is from the New Hampshire Electrical Co-op.
Is there more than one, or is, they've got about 8.
There's
They've got
multiple
slided.
ones on one sheet.
All marked out there, right?
Yep.
And they're all on Haynes Road?
Yes.
Yep.
There's a couple on, not delayed too, but. I would move that we approve them all.
There are some on Mount Delight, right?
I think there
They're
are
just not
two.
listed.
Maybe they're gonna do a separate.
I think they're doing it separate because they all say Haynes Road.
Okay. Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Three different places, well
Okay.
marked. I have a recommendation to abate $500 for the 2015 property tax for Dean Jarry, 108 Middle Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire. Reason for the recommendation was the owner applied and was granted a veteran's credit that was not applied to the 2015 bill.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I want to note for the record that on the 18th of December, 3 members of the Board of Selectmen approved a payroll manifest in the amount of $51,941.84, which netted at $39,349.38. On the same day, the same 3 members of the Board of Selectmen approved a accounts payable manifest in the amount of $584,087.80, of which $500,000 was for the school. And I have notice of intent to cut wood or timber for John Thibodeau, Meeting House Hill Road in Deerfield. Give you the whole thing, I'm sorry. Southern New Hampshire Regional Economic Development Center sent us a Christmas card. All right, so the Budget Committee is holding its public hearing on Tuesday, the 12th. They've posted it for the town hall. There's time yet to repost it. But I wanted to mention that on the 16th of this year, 16th of January this year, we made a motion to suggest that the NBC move the next year's public hearing to the George B. White Conference Room right here so that it could be televised. I guess it's been suggested to the chairman of the board of the Municipal Budget Committee. We voted 5.0 to ask them to move it here.
They got time to repost it?
They do.
I think we should ask them again, and would note that the chairman of the Budget Committee has been very adamant that he would like all Budget Committee meetings and hearings on television and televised, so.
Right. Based on the number of people who show up to a public hearing, opening up the town hall and heating it just for that meeting doesn't make any sense. I did speak with the chairman today. I happened to see him, and he said he'd think about it.
So how much time is this, how much posting did this have to be, do you know? It must be.
7 days?
7 to 10 days. We have time.
We have
Yeah.
time. It would have to be reprinted in the newspaper.
I agree, why don't we ask them again to hold it here?
Do you want to cover the expense, or do you want the NBC to do it?
Doesn't matter. We might as well, yeah, we might as well,
If
we
you
might as
will,
well
it's
cover
on
it.
paper.
But,
I will send him an email tonight.
Just that we're officially requesting again.
yeah. And then you can pass on the fact that we had taken a vote about it in January. All right, so we have a number of contractors who work on this building constantly and know its ins and outs. And I have a request from the town administrator that we make Aussie Electric the electrical contractor for the town buildings, because the reason is Aussie has done most of the work in the buildings already and knows the systems and how to troubleshoot them if necessary. Also, Aussie has given the town a price break on the work he's already done.
Any questions? Mark is here also.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that I would be interested in doing that. It's not that I have any problem with the work of Aussie Electric, and I understand the rationale, but our electrical work here can range from $50 to $7,500, and I don't feel comfortable just naming one electrician at the onset and saying that we're not gonna consider bid processes and that sort of thing. I don't know exactly what we're, harnessing ourselves to here, but I'm happy to use Ozzy for the things that he would work best at that aren't above the limit that we need to go out to bid for, but I'm not interested in guaranteeing any particular contractor dibs on whatever work happens at the town building. That's just me, but.
I would agree. I just don't think it's good policy. I mean, we can certainly encourage him to apply.
I think it would streamline the process, but I understand and agree.
There's a limit on what we go out to bid for, right? So, I mean, other than that, under that, we could have him do stuff to keep it going.
He could certainly be our go-to guy for things that are below that
Smaller
threshold, but
Mm-hmm.
I think if
And honestly, I think he would understand. I mean, that's just good business.
Figure that one out, okay. We have the groundwater summary report for the landfill on Brown Road. Are there conclusions drawn in this?
We're within the,
yeah.
We,
we are within the guidelines.
that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. State of New Hampshire Department of Resources and Economic Development, Division of Parks and Recreation, is going to come inspect our 3 stewardship situations. I didn't know we had any.
I don't know, is our basketball court out here situated on the site of the original one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Basketball court,
George
but that was, that was from, wait a minute, basketball court is 2008. Bicentennial Field is from 1977.
It's still there.
And I guess the tennis court's from 1983.
Wow.
So they're due for an inspection in 2013. They're coming this year. I
All were in
wasn't,
good shape?
and they're all in good
Better
shape.
now than they were a couple years ago.
Wasn't aware of that. All right, the primary will be held on Tuesday, February 9th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The Conservation Commission offers the following for the monthly update to the Board of Selectmen. Conservation volunteer Alan Perkins presented a slideshow to inform members of the effects of the recent timber harvest on the trails at Doust Cape Town Forest. Conservation Commission members will work with Trails Committee and Mr. Perkins to perform the suggested trail maintenance, weather permitting. Member Deb Campilia updated members on the results of the recent easement monitoring on the Lindsay Flanders Conservation Area and Linden properties. Ms. Campilia will coordinate efforts to resolve issues noted in the report. Jeannie Menard, Board of Selectmen Northern Pass Liaison, attended the December meeting at the invitation of the DCC to clarify communications regarding the Northern Pass transmission project. State of New Hampshire sent us a check for the meals and rooms for 2015 in the amount of $210,870.09. We've been asked again to join the New Hampshire Public Works Mutual Aid Program. I believe we looked at this sometime in the last 6 or 7 years. I'd ask everybody to take a look at this pamphlet and see if this is something we'd like to, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we should definitely run that by Mark as well and see if it's something that he wants us to.
Wants us to pursue or not.
You received a copy.
Okay, good.
So then if he can make a recommendation on what he thinks,
That'd be
whether or
good.
not it would benefit the town. All right. How about the town administrator's report?
Okay, the police report from Primex is on the town's website under the police department. The highway department is all set for tomorrow's snow and messy weather coming later tonight and tomorrow. As a reminder, the town offices will be closing at 2:30 on December 31st. And once we get all of our paperwork completed for the year end, the employees are going to be going home. But it's not going to be much more before our normal time. And the transfer station will be closed Thursday, December 31st, and open again on Saturday, January 2nd.
Anything for the town administrator? All right, why don't we look at the recommendations from the town administrator for encumbrances? Or first, our budget, I'm sorry. So based on I guess a recommendation of the MBC, she's removed 25,000 from the maintenance repairs line in the transfer station for next year.
Yeah, if I could speak to the
Go ahead.
NBC brought this up. The chairman in particular was in favor of this, and I told him that I didn't think that the Board of Selectmen would necessarily be in disagreement with this recommendation, that we had had the same discussion, the NBC did, and it was, debated whether it should be a warrant article, or whether it should be in the budget. And if the NBC would prefer it to be a warrant article, I'm happy to throw them that bone, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
This is the one that if it gets voted down, though, we gotta go another year.
Yep.
And for that reason,
You went up and checked it, right, Jeff?
Hmm?
Didn't you go up and look at the pavement?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Oh, you have, okay, somebody did.
I mean, I think it's important that it gets put down, that we get a wear course on it, because it just has a whole lot of traffic, and if it starts to break up, we'll have to tear it up and start all over again. That's just my, and again, my personal feeling is that it should be in the budget to get it taken care of, but if the board feels that this is the way to go.
I'm happy to go back and tell them that I misread the will of the board.
I don't have real strong feelings either way. It's more a question of which way will it have the better chance of passing, I guess, because I would take the advice that it needs to be done. So in some ways, I think having a separate warrant article might give it a better chance, but I wouldn't disagree that it's a cost that should be a part of our budget. So I honestly don't have strong feelings either way.
Yeah, I think I'm the one that suggested it come up originally, and I still think it should be a warrant article. I would go along with that, so people can pull, if we don't get the budget, they can vote on that.
Sounds like you don't have to go back.
All right, so we'll put a warrant article up for $35,250 for the
Price has gone up.
for the purpose of paving the transfer station. Okay, what is the 2016 adjusted budget worksheet?
And that's with the 25,000 removed.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the bottom line. The second one is
Okay.
the draft default.
It also includes the energy adjustments.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's come down.
Correct.
So $3,837,705 would be the budget.
And that's the BOS budget.
Right. Difference is 78,665 between the draft budget and the default budget.
And there's very little difference between the MBC and the Selectmen, right, at this stage?
At this stage, no, Warren, the chairman made a motion to remove $95,000 that failed.
Right.
95,000 from where?
Basically, he was taking out any employee increases throughout the departments, and he wanted to remove them from the budget and have us write separate warrant articles for each increase. So even in that, it was just it was a format switch, not a recommended cut.
Okay. So we're good with the transfer station warrant article. Which option would the board like to pursue for the fire tanker?
This here.
The options being?
Actually, it would be, option one is a 5-year annual payment. 4 payments would be $59,145 with one annual payment of $174,425.81. The second one is a 6-year payment, due annually, 5 annual payments of $59,145 and one annual payment of $119,280.85. And the third is 7 payments, 6 at the $59,145 and 1 at $36,307.16.
It's the second to the last page of your packet.
And the first interest rate is 2.63, and I will remind everybody that is as of today, or on the 22nd. The second option is 2.69%, and option 3 is 2.78% interest.
How much money do we have put away for it?
Right now, we have 100,000.
Is that going pre these figures?
I'm sorry?
Would that go towards the first year and the second? When is that bigger payment due up front?
At the end,
At the end.
the end.
If we had 100, we'd still have 40,000 put towards the second year? Is that how it works?
The yearly payments would be the $59,145.
Which we're already paying.
Which we're already paying right now. So next year, when our lease is up on the engine, we are going to be paying the $198,000, which is in the capital reserve fund, which was set up for that vehicle. So the other capital
We'd still be,
reserve.
we'd be doing getting into another $59,000 payment that we already have in the budget.
This is essentially whether we want 5, 6, or 7 years.
Right.
Correct.
And how much was the payment for the 5-year, the 2-year payment, the payment at the end?
174, 425.
174, so the third year was 119.
Yes.
The
Second year was 119.
the second option, which was 6 years, 119, which would make more sense to me if we'd still have the 59,145. So a 6-year lease, and we'd have we would have to make up $20,000 if we didn't get interest or something along those lines. Go ahead.
Just ask Mark a question. Do we have anything big coming after this in the next 5 or 6 years?
Well,
As far as
I
you,
would say in probably 8 years would be.
okay, so we'd be safe. I'd go with the 6-year one also.
Yeah, I think that's.
All right, so we'll go with the 6-year on that one. Thank you. All right, do a sideways into the encumbrances before we finish that list there. There they are. All right, so the town administrator has recommended the following encumbrances. $500 for record retention. $9,715 to tile and install the downstairs bathroom. $82.63 to tile and install the upstairs bathroom. $3,125 to install a new automatic handicap door up here by the tax collector's office. Replace the front door of the George B. White is $7,529. $5,750 to do the construction work to fix that door, to allow it for, to work with a vertical wheelchair lift, which is an additional $55,1094. Paint the floor, benches, and doorway at the town hall for $3,200. 3 sets of firefighter turnout gear at $1689.15 apiece. 3 firefighter MSA SCBAs at $5,803 apiece. Rescue squad, a high-power portable radio for the vehicle, $4621.38, for a total of encumbrances of $70,190.77.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm really glad that we're able to get on the access, the handicapped access for this room, and I think that's the most critical.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And the fire department update,
Yeah, at least we get them 3 sets of gear.
plus Cindy's radio. It's all good.
All right, so moved and seconded to approve all those encumbrances. Any further discussion?
Yeah, excuse me,
Go ahead.
just for the record for the TV, how much will that leave at the end? 3,
As of today, and I'm taking into consideration one more payroll, we would be looking at approximately $300,000, give or take,
thank you.
Depending on tomorrow.
depending on tomorrow. And we still have a couple of days
And
until the end of the year.
And Thursday.
Well, I know 3 loads of salt came in today, so it'll be close.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Stuck to the one there.
Give it back to the box.
Uh-oh.
One set.
Get a pretty good static attachment, because it didn't just fall off.
Where did we have the money for the lift in the budget?
We're taking it out of GBW.
Okay. So we're going to remove, because we've approved the encumbrance for the lift, we're going to remove another $16,772 from the proposed 2016 budget.
16,000.
772. Having done that, can I get a motion to approve the existing warrant articles?
I would move that we approve the existing warrant articles as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Andy, does that include the motion, the warrant for the 32,250 for the paving of the transfer station?
I can't tell, it's color-coded here, is that included in the totals? Appears to be blanked out.
I have not totaled the warrant articles.
Okay. So it does not include,
These are proposed. I was just looking to see if you are to approve them as stand, or if you wanted to change anything.
at this time, my motion would include
32,250 for the paving.
$35,250 for the purpose of paving the
Correct.
transfer station.
And the only reason I'm asking is, we're getting down to the point where my MS 737 is going to have to be almost ready to be completed and then go to the MBC, so.
Anyone else have any discussion about that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have a 2016 estimated tax impact?
The individual ones are on the proposed,
Mm-hmm.
and I did somewhere.
So, like for the tanker, it's 11 cents per thousand, but that's not an additional because we're already spending that money, correct?
It is for the first payment.
Okay.
Do we have roughly what amount of expenditure equals an estimated dollar on the tax rate?
Still, I think it's still
Just
$535,000.
a little over
Here you go.
Dollars.
Top one.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go.
I'm sorry.
There you go, too.
554,667.
I think that's just helpful when talking to the budget committee about
Yeah,
that.
and 2015 was 561,000.
Andy, it's in your packet.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
$1.19 per thousand if all warrant articles were to pass.
So we got two figures floating around here. Andy said it first, it's 32,250.
And that, yeah,
It's
this is wrong.
35,250. So,
No, it
Yeah.
should be 35,250.
Should be 35,250, it's 32,250
Okay.
on that one.
I don't know if it's added at that, Jan, or if there was just a typo up here.
It's a typo, I believe. I will double check.
It's supposed to be
before-
35,250 though, yeah.
I want to make sure it's. That might add a penny to.
Might add a penny.
Might be $1.20.
$1.20, if all were to pass.
Good.
All right. Let's go move on to, anyone have any other budget issues or comments? All right, unfinished business. I'm gonna, under business, the, go ahead, Jeff, you have it. You have the request for the board to approve.
Yes. Yeah, just pass it down, Steve.
Do we each take one, or?
No, pass them down. It's a request from the work we're doing on Hartford Brook to, why don't you read it, it's easier.
A letter of authorization, the Deerfield Board of Selectmen do hereby authorize Jones and Beach Engineers Incorporated, P.O. Box 219, Stratham, New Hampshire, to act on our behalf concerning septic engineering and approval for the town property known as Hartford Brookfield, tax map 419, parcel 46.22, located on the corner of Mill Road and Hartford Brook Road in Deerfield, New Hampshire. We hereby appoint Jones and Beach Engineers Incorporated as our agent to act on our behalf in the design review process and to include any required signatures.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, go ahead, Andy.
Just quick question, and I wasn't at the last meeting, so maybe it was discussed then, but I'm assuming you're digging a well
Yes,
as well?
yes.
Is that going out to bid, or?
Right now, we have an estimate for it. They're working on getting pricing.
Okay.
Yes.
I just assumed it's gonna be expensive enough, so that if someone doesn't donate it to us, we're,
Yeah, we have an estimate about $5,700
okay.
for a 300-foot well, I believe.
Next.
All those, next what?
I'll let Andy go first.
Go ahead.
Do we need to approve a payment before year end for this engineer fee? It goes to the state?
There is a request in for a payment of $300 to the state of New Hampshire for the septic design.
Right, I just want to make sure that this is no good without that.
Right, and that, the intent is that funding would come from the donated money that we have for the field work.
Okay, so we don't need to include this
Right.
in this?
I don't believe
This is
so.
just to book them?
We'll see it as a regular expenditure.
It will through the Parks and Rec Department.
But it can get paid this year, so this can keep moving?
As soon as you sign this, I am making a copy of
Okay.
this tonight,
Wonderful.
and it will be processed for the end of the year.
Thank you.
Probably could just sign one of them and make copies. I don't know if we need to do all three.
If you've got three, I would sign three in
Okay.
case you need originals.
Good point.
Further discussion?
Not on this one.
I would like to just, I have a list here of the people that have done work so far, and I'd like to just acknowledge them for their help. Dave Drapu, Tony Brock, Sean Reed, Joe Caranti, and Chris Albert, Steve Rollins, Dan Yeton, Jeff White, and Rick Pelletier.
We thank them all. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just note that I have all the plans here. If anybody wants to take a look at them, I guess Jan will have them if we need them. Is that okay? Anyone have any other business?
I do, when I'm
Okay, we'll wait for you to finish.
done signing here. Just sticking with Parks and Rec, I didn't know, Jeff, if you had an update or a copy. I know there was a warrant article to go along with Hartford Brook, or a proposed warrant article, and I didn't know if you needed anything more from the board with regard to
Think-
that.
The intent is to discuss that at our next meeting.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not sure where it stands.
Will we
At
have
the
time
Parks
to
and
do it?
Rec next meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
it should be before our next meeting.
That was, my understanding was it was gonna be, I had talked to Jack, that
Yeah.
it was gonna be a petitioned warrant article, so.
It was the intent, but I wanted to bring it before the board too
Okay.
for their, I don't know if you need to approve it or just
Could at least support it.
support
We
it.
could at least support it, yeah. Further business of any kind, old, new? Yes, sir.
Just an update that I met with Chief Tibbetts last week, and we went down Willow Lane, Sunset Lane, Duke Lane for the update. For the next meeting, we'll have a map with a plan on how we should renumber it. This past year, for those that don't know, we had 3 emergencies out there, one a swamp boat, one a drowning, and one a structure fire. And they went to the wrong house. No, not the fault of the fire department or the rescue, just the way it was originally numbered, and it's time to bring it up to date, so we're working together to do it.
Great.
It is private property, but the town uses it, so we've got to look into that.
I just had a couple of things. A while ago, we talked about, after the New Year's, scheduling regular meetings from, or reporting from the fire chief and the police chief, and I think the planning board. So I was hoping we could start that. And were we talking, refresh my memory, I think
Quarterly,
planning
I
board
think.
was quarterly, or were they all quarterly?
Land use was, my recollection is that we had talked about land use boards being quarterly and the fire and police department being monthly, but
Okay.
I may be off on that. And we sort of drifted away from that in the past. The
it used to
police
be like that,
department-
yeah.
Department giving us a monthly.
And they were monthly, too?
The land use were quarterly and fire.
Does that make us old that we remember that?
Older.
Older.
So the town administrator can notify folks and set up a schedule. Great, thanks. The only other thing I had was that at the last meeting, we had talked about the decision regarding membership on the VZ Park, and that the board had felt that it's not appropriate to have non-residents on boards, and I just wanted to report, I did speak with I assume she's the chair, Deb Smith of the VZ, and she certainly was disappointed, but I think after a conversation, understood the reasoning behind that, so.
Go ahead.
I did a little digging on that too, and it's RSA 35, I forget the rest, but it was pretty clear. It said that, a town, a city, a county, or subdivision has the ability to form a Parks and Rec commission, and they defined any recreation commission under that statute, and it specifically said that you have to be a citizen of the subdivision that creates the commission, so.
For the record, I'd love to have Glenda on the commission, absolutely. I just, yeah.
We should send her a letter asking her to move back to Deerfield.
Yeah.
All right, further business? Seeing none. We are not going to need a non-public tonight, so citizens' comments. Ms. Katie?
The supervisors completed today going through the complete checklist and sending approximately 700 letters to people whose either the old yellow cards from 30 years ago or who are not in the file. So, Mr. Pittman, Mr. Robertson, and I believe Rebecca, you will receive a card saying that you're not on the checklist because we have no file for you. But all you have to do is fill out the forms and bring them back. Jeff knows what this is about. We have, under state law, a responsibility to make sure the checklist cards have your license and your birth date and other information now that was not there when the old little cards were filled out. And because we don't have your birth dates and so forth on the cards, we don't have the legal checklist. So I just want you to know, and everybody out there that gets a letter, it's not because you're not on the checklist. It's because we're required to keep a form with this information, and we no longer had it. So the checklist has been cleaned up. There are already cards coming back saying no such person at this address, which is going to be great because we'll shave down the number of people on the checklist. And we won't have as large a checklist, thus when we have the amount of people showing up to vote, we will have a better percentage of people who voted in the town of Deerfield, rather than competing against a large number that wasn't a correct number. So I hope you won't, or I won't, anybody out there feel that they've been discriminated against. It is simply the cleanup by law that the checklist supervisors have made in order to be ready for the February 9th primary.
Ms. Skady, are the letters on town stationery?
They aren't. They are on supervisor stationery. They say Deerfield supervisors of the checklist, and it names the 3 supervisors. But all of the letters that will be returned to the town post office box.
Do you have a copy of the letter so we could see it?
It's in the office.
We'll probably see it. You haven't mailed them yet?
Yeah, they're all mailed.
Oh, so we'll probably see it
You,
tomorrow.
you will have it. It is, you can either bring it in to the town clerk, you can bring it to the supervisors, or you can bring it at the election. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for everybody so that they don't have to make a special trip. But if they choose to, the town clerk has already got 15 or 16 back that we are now going to put their information into the electronic format that goes to the state files.
So you don't think there'll be any confusion with it not having Town of Deerfield at the top, then the supervisors below it?
I wouldn't think so. So far, there hasn't been any question.
Good, I
With-
hope we don't have to send them out again.
With the number that have already come back, nobody has questioned. People have said, why after 31 years? But it is because of that 31 years, because the old cards did not have the kind of information now required.
So just, you may have said this in the beginning of your explanation and it went right through me, but why are we doing this at this point in time?
The supervisors make the decision when to clean the files. We have had umpteen people that we can't prove their signatures on petitions because there is nothing in the file with a signature. Under law, we are required to confirm the petitions that come through us. And I just got sick of year after year, we don't have it where they're saying no name in file. This way, they'll be corrected. We can each year, Rebecca, we could each year cull the checklist. Most supervisors do it every 10 years with
I was
the
going to say, I
census.
thought there was some kind of state requirements about every 10 years or
You
something.
must do it every 10 years, but you can do it oftener.
So the reason that you're doing this is because we need signatures?
The reason we're doing it is because we need information. For instance, if you made out the old yellow card,
Yeah.
you were born in 1776. Jeff will tell you, he went to get a justice of the peace, and they told him he couldn't because
I wasn't a registered voter.
he wasn't a registered voter.
With the state.
No, in Deerfield. But he was
state
registered.
check.
It was just that he was registered on the old yellow cards. And when we transferred in the state to electronic format and reporting all the voters, we went to a new form which has your birth date and your driver's license in order for a valid ID. You present your driver's license or some kind of valid ID. Well, the old yellow cards didn't require a driver's license, didn't require your birth certificate, didn't require that you say you were a U.S. citizen or a naturalized citizen, or, you know, it's cleaner with the new forms. The forms have all had their names put on them and gone with the letter so that people can just fill out the form and bring it in and show their license to, as I said, the supervisors, the town clerk, or at the election.
Great.
Yeah, I want to thank you for that. I did get an email from someone that was upset with what they'd received in the mail, not being on town letterhead, and concerned that they've been voting in town for 15 years, and now all of a sudden they're not registered voters. So this clarifies that. I'm glad you said something, so thank you.
I know it's going to be a little bit of hassle, but the majority of people, I mean, I bet now the town clerk has taken in 30.
Yeah, I know.
And the only question has been, I've voted for 30 years, why now? And the why now is to get the files clean.
So moved.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, and then I have a question on the encumbrances. Are they all contracts and bills that have already been put out?
Yes.
I want to thank the selectmen for not making Aussie Electric the town electrician. I do feel that even if we have a bid process of under $10,000, the administrator should be doing RFPs for any work that is being done in the town. I think that to show the citizens you are doing their business well, you do it by showing you do RFPs in order to get the best buy for the taxpayer. And I have a question. We've had to pay for the groundwater summaries for the transfer station ever since it closed in the 80s. Do you know how long that process goes on?
No, I don't.
I don't.
We can find out.
Is there any way we can find out?
Yes.
Yep, DS can tell us.
When we find out, we'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Any further citizens' comments? Okay, I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year.
A motion to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming.
So when you tried to get.
Thank you.